And Bob, what is this thing we're looking at?
Well, Gwen, I think this would be a good time to let the public guess what this might be. Let me just operate it a little bit. But it should be fun to see what kind of response we get to this and see if they can guess what it is. And it's something we've just gotten in the last year, and it's kind of an interesting thing, and I think we'll be interesting to see what people come up with, or if they have some idea of what it is. And once you hear what it is, you'll say, sure, that makes sense. But at first it might be a little bit hard to recognize it, but a fun piece, and I think it'll be fun to see what kind of response we get from the viewers.
And people will get some sort of a present. We don't know what yet.
Right.
So we'll put Bob's number on the screen so you can call.
Okay.
And coming up, the State Museum's natural historian shows us what he finds most intriguing in Nevada's animal world.
The Curator of Natural History here at the Nevada State Museum in Carson City is Dr. George Baumgardner. We think of Nevada as being a desert, and it pretty much is. Is this a good place to find different types of animals?
Well, yes, it is, because of the various types of habitats, because of the different elevations, the mountains, the valleys, the deserts, and everything. There are a number of different types of places where animals can live.
Okay, well, tell us about some of the neat stuff that we find here in Nevada.
Well, one that's very popular is this right here. This is a rattlesnake. This is a Great Basin rattlesnake. It's a fairly small one. It's been freeze-dried. It's not alive, but it was alive at one point. And this is very popular with the children, and we hope to get this on exhibit downstairs here very soon.
Okay, now what kind of rattlesnake is it?
It's called a Great Basin rattlesnake, is its common name, and it's one of the most common rattlesnakes in the state.
How long are they? If we were to stretch this thing out, and I assume we can't stretch it out, it's kind of frozen in that position.
This one would probably be about 2.5, 3 feet long, maybe.
And is this something that people really need to be pretty careful about?
Well, you certainly don't want to agitate them or step on them or anything, but it's something you want to be aware of when you're out walking around in the brush and everything.
And what else then do we find?
Well, we have a number of different things here. This is a very interesting bat. There are about 20, I believe it's 22 or 23 species of bats in the state of Nevada, and that gives us about half the number that occur in North America in this state. This particular bat is very interesting because not only does it eat insects in the air like almost all the bats in this state, but it will also eat scorpions and ants. It will land on the ground and crawl around and eat the scorpion on the ground. This is called a pallid bat, by the way. And these can be found in caves and in mines, but they also will occur in structures. In fact, we have one downstairs in our research collection that was obtained from the Capitol, the attic of the Capitol here in Carson City.
Way up in the top, huh?
Way up in the top,
wow.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got the bat.
Something else? Okay.
And by the way, do we have rabid bat, not rabid, but the vampire bats here in
No,
Nevada?
we do not have vampire bats. They do not occur in the United States. There's one record from Texas, but it's thought that that was an animal that was blown from the south by a storm.
Wow, during a big gale, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Another thing that's very popular are the butterflies. We have a large butterfly collection here. We have some down on exhibit down in the galleries. Most of these are butterflies. There is one moth here, and the easiest way to tell the difference between a butterfly or a moth are the antennae. You can see here that the moth has kind of a leafy-looking antenna, whereas the butterflies have straighter, almost more stick-like antennae.
We often think of moths as being just gray and drab, but this moth is actually quite beautiful.
This is very pretty, isn't it? Yes. I was very privileged a couple of years ago to see a badger. Now this is a study scan or a scientific scan. We use these for teaching and for documentation that animals occur in a particular place. They're a little bit easier to keep than taxidermy mounts, but we do have one of those downstairs as well. But I was lucky enough to see 2 of these one time during the daytime. They normally are not out during the day, and I don't know why they were out, but they were on the road down in front of us, and I was able to get some pictures of them with a telephoto lens.
So even though we see lots of badger holes around, and we always warn you not to run your horse across a field with badger holes, nonetheless the badger itself is hard to see because it's nocturnal. Hard
to see, and a lot of those holes actually are are hunting holes. They are digging in the ground to try to get say a ground squirrel or a kangaroo rat or something for food.
So it would be tough for people watching this program to actually see a badger unless perhaps they live on a farm or ranch.
Unless you spend a great deal of time outside. Yes, I've been doing field work where badgers live for almost 30 years, and this is only the second time that I've seen one.
Well, certainly this is a more familiar
Yes.
skull here.
This is the skull of a horse. I found this, the skull, in the Pine Nut Mountains. I'm fairly certain that it was a wild horse, and one of the reasons that I say this is this damage that you see right here. This horse had a problem with a tooth and lost a tooth, and I don't think you'd see that in a domesticated animal. Like I said, I found this dead, and it's a wonderful tool for education.
There's clearly a lot of neat things that are around the state, and you don't have to be a natural historian to find some of these things.
Right.
But what is it that the museum can offer the public?
One thing, we serve as a repository for this type of material so that it can be held for people to study and learn about, for years to come. We do interpret it for the public, and we also offer presentations, and we will answer specific questions to the public or for the public.
Terrific. We'll put up your phone number and the website for the State Museum
Great.
on the screen, so people should know that they can come to the museum, see a lot of terrific exhibits, also get some interpretation from people like George, and we'll also put a few titles of some of these books. You clearly have a lot of books here.
Yes, we have some wonderful books on Nevada. This is the Mammals of Nevada.
So we'll put some of the titles up that you suggest.
Okay.
And thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The Nevada State Museum, housed in the former U.S. Carson City Mint, invites visitors to appreciate Nevada's natural and cultural heritage. Exhibits include geology, history, coin press number 1, a replica mine in Ghost Town, and gun and silver collections. The museum is open daily, and once a month, a free evening lecture highlights current research. Besides the Nevada State Museum, the Nevada Division of Museums and History operates 6 other museums around the state, including the State Railroad Museum in Carson City, East Ely Depot Museum in Ely, Lost City Museum at Lake Mead, the State Museum and Historical Society in Las Vegas, the Historical Society in Reno, and under construction, an historic tourist railroad in Boulder City. Membership in any state museum gives you free admission to all the state museums. The museums are part of the Nevada Department of Cultural Affairs, which also includes the State Office of Historic Preservation, the State Library and Archives, and the Nevada Arts Council. See you next time on Exploring Nevada.